You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. 'Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, life. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. And you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had my ways. About your mind,
Hello, Pyro Media family. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey. Happy Friday, Junior, y'all. It is Nicole D. Vick of Nicole D. Vick Live. Hey. Hope all of you are doing well. Hold on. It's the end of January. What happened? See, this is the problem I have. Time moves too fast. I need time to slow down. I think as you age, time moves faster, and I don't quite like it. I needed to go back to when I was in elementary school and it felt like a week took like 2 weeks. I needed time to go back to that. This fast forwarding of things is problematic for me because we're almost to the end of January. Now, the good side to that is we about to run all up into Black History Month, my favorite month of the year. But once again, I just feel like things are moving way too fast. I'm so glad to have you here. I hope you're watching either on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn Live tonight. Hey, we are on our final episode this month of Black Women at Work. I really wanted to get on this topic because of what has been going on. As y'all know, over the last few weeks, it has been feeling like open season on Black women. I don't know what we did, whose shoes we stepped on, what happened. I don't know, but I don't like it. Okay. I think it all started when Taraji said what she said, right? She said what she said. Then Dr. Claudine Gay had to go on and save herself and jump ship. I'm out of here from Harvard. Then we had one of our beautiful women in academia actually, end up dying by suicide. Just some things have been going on. And it's like, this is really just too much. All over LinkedIn, at least my LinkedIn, because you curate your feed to look like what you want it to be. So at least on my side of LinkedIn, what I see, baby, the Black women contingent was hot, heated, mad. How are we supposed to navigate the working world, regardless of institution, when it is so clear that the working world ain't really checking for us? Like, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. We gonna figure some things out. So I have spent this whole month sort of walking through something, and I want to show you something. There's this awesome graphic that I saw on LinkedIn as well, and it says it's the Black woman employee life cycle. And it was so amazing to see the alignment of what I saw on this life cycle graphic or model, parallel to what I have been working on on this series. And so this thing is like producer. There you go. Yes, there it is. That is the Black woman life cycle. And I saw it a couple of days ago, and it made me realize how much I'm aligned with what's going on in the world. So I decided to do this series, and then I see this, and I'm like, oh, I literally, the whole series walked through this entire thing, right? So, I did the salary negotiations episode with Leah Murphy, right? So that's the recruitment and onboarding stage at the top of this document or this model that you see here. Last week, I had Josie on, and we were going through this optimistic employee slash burnout, right? Because it was like, well, you start off and you're excited, but then like what happens and how do we navigate those spaces, right? And so there's Leah, and she was the one that was dropping them gems. There's Josie, talking about sort of the navigating the workspace. And then tonight we're going to really get to the section that says exit, repeat, and stay. But we're going to focus on the exit, repeat section. The other thing that made me realize I was really aligned is when I realized who created this model, Doctors Wheaton Greer and Dr. Wells. They are actually graduates of the same school that I am attending right now. So USC, yes. But Dr. Rossier School of Education, both of them are graduates from that program. Both of them are Black women. And so I'm like, so not only does this make sense for me, and I'm sure it makes sense for a lot of Black women in this workspace, the folks that created this model actually go to the school that I go to right now, or graduated from the school I go to right now. So I was like, ooh, it's some alignment right there. But I want all of you in the audience, if this makes sense to you, if you can literally see your career trajectory there, please put that in the comment, because a lot of women were like, this literally is my life right now. So yeah, I just want to share that with you. If you find it, it's on LinkedIn. It's been shared everywhere, so you should be able to find it pretty quickly. All right. Last week, I had my classmate Josie. Y'all saw her photo just show up a minute ago. And we had a good old chat about navigating the workplace. She brought up a term I hadn't heard before, toxic resiliency. And we talked about how this idea, the concept of resiliency, even though a lot of us wear that as a badge of honor, is actually causing us harm. Our health status is going downhill. We're burning out. Or as someone said, we are being set on fire. Okay. So as we walk through that life cycle of the Black woman in their career, I want to go to get to the end, and we're going to have a guest that's going to talk about that. When is it time to go? Sometimes, well, let's just say this. A couple of generations ago, time to go was 30 years. You work 30 years for a company, and the retirement gift is a clock. And that's when it's time to go, right? We were taught, I'm Gen X, we were taught you come in, you work your 30 years, you move up, and you go. For some other people, it's different. Maybe it's time to go when you start your family and you want to be home with your family. It can be different for different people. But I think for Black women, more and more of us are realizing I might need to jump ship right now before this place kills me. And it could be any industry. And so I'm excited to bring on my guest. Nailah is coming, and she is going to talk about the radical sabbatical. I'm curious to learn about what's going on. So let's bring her on. Come on. Yo,
Hey,
you about to come to? I can't even talk. My words. I'm just so excited to have you on, because when Josie suggested and mentioned you, I'm like, wow, this is like next level stuff. So let's just jump right in. I'm going to read your bio, and then we're going to jump on in. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
I just have to say, you look so cute with your glasses. I'm like, I'm in bifocal land now, so my glasses don't look like that.
The bifocals. What?
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go talk to
the functional. Yeah.
Like, excuse me, you got me looking. Hello, fix that. Matter of fact, I have like 15 pair of glasses, but of course, those were pre-bifocal. They just sitting in the drawer.
I'm getting lonely.
Sad. It's all right. All right. Nailah Banks-Embden is an inspirational and accomplished senior human resources leader with over 2 decades of experience in fostering organizational success through a people-centric approach to HR management. I love that people-centric approach. With an ability to build collaborative relationships at all levels of an organization, her leadership style is characterized by a focus on open communication, fairness, and a dedication to cultivating a work environment that values diversity and inclusion. Throughout her career, Nailah has held key HR leadership roles in diverse industries, including media, technology, healthcare, finance. She has a proven track record of implementing innovative HR strategies aligned with business objectives, resulting in increased employee engagement and overall company performance. See, I told you I don't be bringing people on here that don't know what's going on. Her mission is to empower employees, nurture talent, and contribute to the overall success and growth of the organizations she served. Now, recently, and this is what we're going to get into recently, Nailah made the intentional decision to embark on a radical sabbatical. We're going to talk about that term. After leading HR teams in a startup environment for the last 3 years, she is taking a much needed break to reflect on her priorities, rediscover her passions, and consider what's next for her career. So I'm excited. A native of Chicago, she now resides in Atlanta, Georgia with her husband and son. Hey, all right. We just gonna start at the first beginning. That's my favorite term, first beginning. What is a radical sabbatical?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. What makes it so radical? And I think people take career breaks for different reasons, whether it be caregiving, child or elderly parent, medical reasons, layoffs, things like that. This is radical because it's about me and prioritizing me and taking care of me and my well-being and all the things that have to do. And that's just not something that we do. We aren't that, I'm gonna say selfish, but it's a good selfish.
I agree. And I will, you're right. I don't think we're built that way. I don't know. Are you Gen X? What are you?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm Gen X. So I'm like, I just want to make sure we was on the same page.
Oh, we're on the same page. I just had one of those milestone birthdays. 50 where? 50 who? 50 what? Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I just feel like that Gen X whole cohort, especially Black women, go to school, get a good education, get a good job, work it till you retire. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like your boss. You got to stay there because you got a pension coming. You got it's something at the end that you're supposed to work for. So you're supposed to labor and toil, and that's all right until you get out on the side, right? And your reward is that little pension.
Mm-hmm.
And congratulations. And the clock. Don't forget the little clock they give you at the end.
So I just went to my cousin's retirement party yesterday, 38 years with the same company. Thankfully, she's still in her right mind and able-bodied. But it's not everyone's reality. I think it's amazing if you can do that, but it's just not everybody's reality.
Yeah, and I think it is something to look forward to for a lot of people, but I also think that the work world has changed so much that it's not even a reality. It's not realistic for a lot of people anymore at all. Like, I feel like, honestly, my generation or the folks that I work with, we're the last group of people that have that kind of work security in a lot of ways, right? And y'all laughing at my clock. Well, yeah, yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That little clear clock thing, and it be in the big box for 30 years. That's how they give you the clock.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not realistic anymore. So it's like, I think we need to start thinking about how to save ourselves. I also saw data once. I don't know if you've ever seen this, where if you work until you're 65, you die sooner than if you retire early or you try to leave early. So if you leave earlier, you actually live longer. But if you work until you're 65, you actually kind of, your life expectancy is a little shorter. And then I'm gonna get back on program in a second. And you hear they trying to raise the retirement age to 70.
Every year, it's a new number. It's a new milestone to reach. Mm-hmm.
Life expectancy of Black people, baby. So if you got to work till you 70, but your life expectancy is 77 years.
Yeah. The
They
math is
hoping
not.
you, no, they hoping you gonna die before you collect your little check.
The system.
Yes. Okay. Were there specific moments or experiences in your professional life that prompted this? Hey, I gotta take a moment. I gotta back away from this. I'm interested in
Yeah.
hearing about that.
So the first 20 years of my career is like, I think, fairly normal, trying to learn and gain experiences and, climb that ladder. It was when the pandemic started and the role of human resources and us HR folks, we became critical to organizations and the way that they were navigating all of these changes, from being remote to redesigning benefits to meet these sort of new landscapes and meet the needs of the employees. And the burnout was beyond real. It's like, oh, okay, now we're important. We're no longer HR police. We are, essential in a lot of ways. And so that, I think, was where it began. And then I was able to take on senior leadership roles at two different startup organizations, which was a totally different beast altogether. So that startup life is it's incredible. It's something that I marveled at. But what I noticed was this sort of pet to threat phenomenon, and I cannot take credit for that term, but it's when everybody's excited. Oh, this Black woman's coming on. She's going to be in a leadership role, and it's like, oh, come on in, join us. And everybody's on the diversity wagon until you get there and you actually have a point of view. You want a real seat at the table, and sometimes we'll allow. We want to have our say in things. I'll speak for myself. I'm a little loud, but then it's like the I in DEI just disappears. It's like, where is the inclusion really? And so the inclusion was sorely lacking, at least in my experience, at the leadership levels. And so at that point, I'm thinking about, is this really what I want? Am I at my age, is this aligned with what I'm trying to do with my career? And at that point, I just really took a thoughtful time to say, okay, what am I doing now? And it was scary, and it was like one of those moments like, oh, okay. And I said, this is not what I want to be doing anymore. And there was no layoff, there was no reason except I'm going to prioritize myself and my self-care, because the toll it had taken on me physically and mentally. Everybody that was close to me could see it. So
Yeah.
here we
Wow.
are.
You mentioned a whole bunch of things, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to keep tapping my head, like I gotta say this and say this and say this.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
sounds like, for one thing, COVID. I think COVID changed a lot of things for a lot of
Yes,
people.
yes.
COVID made people realize, like, wait a minute, and in a number of ways, because you saw
Mm,
people that were here today and were gone tomorrow. First of all, right? It
right.
was like, why am I doing what I'm doing when life can go like that?
Mhm,
First,
mhm.
right? So it really made you start to rethink things. And even in regards to work, you made some good points too. Like, for years, no, telework, no, no, no. And then we had to telework. And suddenly it's like,
Right,
oh, it's actually possible. And all these years y'all was telling us it couldn't happen. And now we can do
right.
it. Oh,
All of a sudden, we're productive, even more productive than we were when we were coming in, commuting to work, right?
I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. Yes. And then so that was the one thing I wanted to talk about. Like, yes, that COVID thing really, I think, shifted everybody's perceptions about a lot of things. But then
Yeah.
you also talked about fear. And I think for a lot of us, especially as Black women, that
Mhm.
fear can really get a hold on us and have us in a chokehold. And it
Yep.
sounds like you actually sort of stepped beyond it. You were like, I'm afraid, but that's all right. We're gonna keep walking. And
Mhm.
and if anybody knows what I know, that's where the growth comes from. Stepping
Right.
through that fear. Do you think that, and it's not even a related it is a related question, but it's not about the fear. But as Black women, in your case, do you think your Blackness um, influenced your decision to take this break? So it sounded like there was the COVID, the work,
Mhm.
the burnout, or I don't know if you've heard this. There's a journal article. It says you're not burned out. They set you on fire.
Huh.
You're not burned out. They set you on fire.
Oh,
Um,
that famous term, and set you up for success.
you talked about
Okay.
catch a threat. So I'm just wondering, like, how did your Blackness? And it's funny, I'm doing
Mhm.
my research on my dissertation, and I asked them, "How's work?" And then I said, "Okay, now put your black cell phone. Give me the black
Mhm.
people answer." So
Mhm.
how did the
Mhm.
Blackness come into play with this decision you made?
So I think it absolutely came into play. You mentioned earlier in the show that it feels like there's an attack on Black women in the workplace. And it didn't just start with those folks that, have been in the news and the media lately. We are expected to outpace our counterparts and sacrifice in ways that others aren't. Um, and then we get gaslit for the things that's like, wait, what's happening here? What's going on right now? And when we actually do produce that Black girl magic that we're so known for, it's often at the expense of our health and well-being. And people are looking at us like, what's wrong with you? What you mean? You burned out? Why? You burned out how? Oh. And so what was true for me, and often I think so many Black women, is that we take care of everybody else but ourselves. I'm taking care of my teams. I'm, you know, doing things that it's like, okay, but I just got to stay up one more hour to get this done. And I just got to get this earlier meeting to do this. And it is, I was that person who was like, oh, they passed. Okay, well, let's get a grief counselor and then replace them, as quickly as possible. So I had to contemplate like, okay, what's going to happen if something happens to you? They're gonna replace you, but I can't. I'm not replaceable for my son, and I'm not replaceable for my husband. And so, um, yeah, I think for us, the burden is greater.
Yes, I agree. And L'Oreal just left a comment, and she said, "I was afraid to leave, but I was more afraid to stay." Um,
Mm,
so it was
mhm,
like, you know what? Yeah, it
mhm.
is scary, but it's actually scarier to be here in this
Yes,
space, especially
yes.
what you just said. Like, I know I'm valuable to this organization. I've contributed a lot, but when I'm more valuable to my family.
Mhm.
I said something to Josie, and I saw Josie had commented earlier too. I said, "Your black body and your black mind are more important than anything else,
Mhm.
anything else." And I think
Mhm.
we are so used to giving and doing, we
Yeah.
forget,
Yep.
right? And it goes back to my research on psychological safety and some of the types of psychological safety, one of them being contributor safety.
Yeah.
We are allowed to produce our productions, are the things
Mhm.
we create are valued, but we're not valued as the creator. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever been in a workspace where you create a thing, they love the thing, but you're not respected and given your due. It's almost like the damn thing came out of the sky. Where'd you think
Yep.
this? Who you think created this thing? Hello, hello.
Unicorns and rainbows, but it's like, oh, okay, but go do the next thing. But I just did everything you needed me to do. Yeah.
It's like, what the heck?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, we could be here all night on that. I got a couple more questions and we're gonna go to commercial. What have been some of the most significant experiences or light bulb moments for you since beginning your sabbatical?
So I'm 60 days in. I'm still pretty new to this. Yeah. And I started my sabbatical over the holidays, which gave me a beautiful opportunity to be fully present with my family, with my friends, and not worry about, oh, the work I need to do, or oh, well, this, emergency happened and I got to be on call, that kind of thing. So spending that time being connected, doing that work around reflecting on what does this time mean for me and making it valuable so that if and when I go back into the workforce, I know that this, was a priceless opportunity. One of my passion projects is tracing my family history back as far as I can go. And so I've had an opportunity to do that in this time. And I'm currently as far back as my third great grandparents. Like, who does that, and how difficult that is for us as African Americans. So I think that's already been one of those experiences that I will cherish forever. And then I'm going to set up myself on the road and start traveling to continue my research and really dig in. So I'm really looking forward to that this year.
And see, that speaks to the beauty of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much of a gift it is. And while we're moving and working and then and here and there, we don't get a chance to just like stop. And you're getting the chance to do the things that you would never necessarily have the time to do. And it's like, how beautiful is that? You can't replace that, right? It's amazing. All right, let's go to commercial before I start crying. Because I don't have that kind of time. Hopefully soon I will. We'll see one day. But let's go to commercial and we'll come back. We can do more questions.
Because self-care should be luxurious. Luxe Noir.
Hey pilots, did you know that you can now catch the electrifying sounds of Bulletin Flight Radio anywhere you go? Yes, you heard it right. Tune in to the high-flying beats and soaring melodies by downloading the TuneIn app on your mobile device. Just search for Bulletin Flight Radio and hit play. It's that easy. And if you have a smart device like Alexa or Google, just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn." Experience the rush of adrenaline wherever you are. Listen to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn using your Alexa or Google devices. Soaring through the skies has never sounded this good. Don't miss out on the ultimate musical journey. Tune in now to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn and let the music take you on an unforgettable ride. Get ready to elevate your listening experience. Brought to you by Bulletin Flight Radio.
All right, and we are back talking about a radical sabbatical, and I'm over here trying to figure out, like, let me see, hold on, how can I make this happen for myself? And we've already talked about a lot about how or why the idea of a sabbatical is really important for Black women. I think on a mental health, self-care, physical health. But have you had any experiences with societal pressure or stigma? Like, are people like, "Girl, what you doing? Why you need to go back to work"? Have you had any of that happen?
So yes, I'm careful though to talk about what the decision I've made in safe spaces and places, because haters are real. But we definitely need to destigmatize taking a break. What like, we've gotten to the point where burnout, busyness is so normal. It's like we wear it as a badge. Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I'm so this. It's like, the first thing I realized in this time is that I have to untether myself from corporate conditioning. And for me, that looks like that somehow my worth is attached to what I do, what my title is, what I've accomplished. It's all lies. And so I've taken a break from LinkedIn, no shade. The noise was just is disrupting to my peace right now. I'm not looking for a job. I don't need it. Like, I'll see y'all when I get back. And thankfully, career breaks are becoming more common. Like, on the one hand, burnout badges are still a thing. But since I've taken this time, I can't tell you how many people I've connected with just sort of divinely that are on a break, have taken a break, about to take a break. And so for me, that feels empowering. I don't feel alone. And while I'm leaning into my own experience, I'm listening to others' experiences and seeing like, what has it been like for you? And so that's been great.
Yeah, that's amazing. What advice would you give to someone, especially our sisters, who would be even contemplating a sabbatical? First of all, I don't even think a lot of us know or have considered it or thought about it. But what if we maybe they're listening to you and they're like, dang, I could do that. Like, what advice would you give to someone that's thinking about it?
Well, I'm just a normal, regular old intended. Um, One thing I will say, I am a powerful manifester. I don't play about the things that I want. Whatever I decide to do, be, or have, I write it down, I visualize it, I pray about it, and I expect God to deliver. Now, I didn't start manifesting with let me take a career break because we got bills to pay and kids to take care of. And, I, I started with being financially free first, and that broke down into other steps like paying off mountains of student debt. And one milestone at a time, I manifested it. And it took years, but the time is going to pass anyway. Might as well do what you want to do and focus on the things that you want. And so I would just say, get clear on your dreams. Dreaming is free. And nobody's going to stop you from doing it. You don't have to share your dreams with everybody, but get clear on your dreams, write it down, what you want to experience, how you want to feel. Even if you don't know what that thing is, how do you want to feel in your life? And begin to manifest it one step at a time.
I think that is so important. This idea of manifestation. I feel like I don't know if it's a Black people thing or Black woman thing. I feel like a lot of us have that superpower in some way. I was talking to someone about that. She's like, "Oh yeah." I said, I think I even made a TikTok. I said, I can sometimes be in my bed, not sleep yet, but my mind, and it'll play a whole movie out about a thing.
Yes.
Me and I was saying it's not about a movie, me watching myself do it. I'm doing it. I can see I'm living it. I'm turning in my badge. I'm resigning. And I can literally see the whole thing. And I'm like, yep.
Right. And your subconscious doesn't know the difference.
Mm-hmm. I'm crying because I see it. I'm like, oh, this is it. And I'm like, I'm ready for it. So it's crazy. And it's happened to me in other aspects of my life. And it's like, it really does work. To see it, to write it, to pray, to speak it. And like, you're to speak it to anybody. You can go in your closet and say it. But it becomes real, right? So it's amazing. I think those are good tips. Are there resources, websites? Like, I mean, I think even the practical side. I know I don't want to get into like, oh, you did give some tips on finances and about being financially free, but I'm wondering even for someone that works in a different type of industry. I think there are even opportunities to officially go on leave and be able to come back to a job, right? It's not like, oh, I'm resigning and now what do? You can say, I'm going to take a sabbatical for X amount of time, a month or two, and then you still are able to come back. So maybe one tip is to check to see if your work
person. Sorry. Talk to your HR person. And see what's available to you. There are sometimes sabbaticals, there are leaves of absence, some that don't have to be medically related. At one of my previous organizations, we had a timeout policy, and you could take time out to deal with societal traumas. So understand what resources are available to you at your corporation.
Yeah. And I've also seen certain nonprofits, or if you work for a nonprofit, some funding institutions will fund, at least I know the executive director, to do a sabbatical. So maybe you run a nonprofit. Maybe you can try to see where those are too. I've seen that before as well. Josie just left a comment. Yes, dreaming is free, and we don't allow ourselves to dream. We're so used to like go, 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 go. We don't stop and be like, dang, what do I really want? If I didn't have
Mhm.
to do any of the day-to-day stuff, what would I want for myself? I'm gonna tell you my dream. So, and Josie knows this because I talk about it all the time. We see each other every weekend. I said, listen, I watch these videos on YouTube. The woman's name is Tatiana Ina,
Mm.
and she is in Ghana, and she goes around to all the different villages in the country. And
Mhm.
and lately she's been in this one particular village with this one guy and her kids, and they're cooking in the kitchen outside. And now they did kill the goat, and I'm like, oh, the poor goat, but they had to eat. That's fine. But I'm like, I think I could do that. Go to the stream and fetch the water, and they ain't got no cell phones. At least they're not tied to them like we are. And it's beautiful and it's green. I'm like, I could do that. I probably can't, but it's a dream. Like that would be so cool just to be able to be
Yes.
gone for like a
Yes.
month or two,
Yeah.
and then be like, okay, I'll come back. I'm back
Well,
now. But
you can or you can't. You're right. Like it's up to you. So you can. You might not have to go forever. You could just go for, a little bit of time. See what it's like. Go live off grid for a hot minute.
well, y'all would never see me again. Where Nicole at? Girl, somewhere in Ghana with a man. Girl, the man don't have no shirt on. He got this little fabric tied around his waist. I'm like,
With a
see,
man and a goat. Mhm.
and then he go with a big knife and cut the plantains off the tree. I'm like, see, this is top tier living right here. Y'all don't understand. This is
Right.
ideal.
That's a dream. I love it.
Okay, so let's close out. A few questions for you. What are your
Mhm.
plans for after this sabbatical? Are you going to? How long you think you're going to be gone, or you did talk about re-entering the
Yeah,
workforce?
it's still early days. I'm open to possibilities. I'm not sure at this point if I'm gonna go back to corporate America. What I do next has to be aligned with my spirit. And if that's working, if that's supporting a nonprofit, if that's traveling the world, finding my ancestors, whatever that is, has to be aligned. Right now, I'm just leaning into radical self care. Like that's a whole practice, and we don't give ourselves. I think I saw someone. We don't give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves. Like I'm making rest a whole ministry. I am going to be the pastor of rest and guilt free. So that's really what I'm leaning into, and I'm gonna be listening for what's next, but I don't know exactly yet. And that in of itself is like, okay, I don't know.
And I think the reality is it'll come when it's supposed to.
Hmm.
Whatever's supposed to be for you is going to appear, and it will be like nothing. It'll just be like a natural, like,
Yeah.
and you just
Yeah.
go in that direction. And I think there's
Mhm.
beauty in that. And again, we just haven't had that chance to experience that. You got the hookup, girl. You got this great thing happening for you. I'm very happy for you. And I
Yeah.
think you are a model for what other Black women who are in this corporate grind, in this government institution grind, in this academia grind,
Mhm.
we can aspire to. Okay, we can get to this space where we can be who we were truly intended to be. We weren't intended to work like
Mhm.
the way we do, right? So
I
like
just
we
dream
want to get
of
to
life. That's it.
right. Like we wasn't our station in life. No.
Yeah.
So I think this is so beautiful. And I'm really grateful to have you on to share with us this. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners about anything, your journey, or anything you want them to kind of walk away with?
That is yours to create. The
Mm,
possibilities are endless. I did not do this alone. I have an amazing supportive husband, and a supportive community and village. I had folks that branched out. My best friend has been retired for almost 15 years. And I'm like, how can I be like you when I grow up? And so I created my own version of that. And so surround yourself with people that inspire you and
yes.
go for it.
And that support network is so, so, so very important.
Mhm.
Well, I thank you. I count you now as
You.
one of my supporters. And us supporting each other. You're part of the
Yeah.
fold now. Josie brought you on. You family now. Josie family too. She don't know that yet. But Like you cousins, we cousins now because we see each other every dang on weekend. So
Mhm.
therefore, you are also cousin. And thank you so much for coming out. Hopefully, we can have you back because now I feel like we should do something for Women's History Month or Women's Health Month or something like that. We might
Women's
bring
health, we need to talk about menopause because that's the other thing. Why are we not talking about this?
You didn't set up. I'm gonna put that in the notes for the
Yes.
Okay. I will bring you on for that. All right, I'm gonna do my closing out. Thank you so much for joining. I saw Josie on. I saw L'Oreal come on in and leave comments. So thank you all for showing up. Please, please, please share this video with your friends, your family, whoever you want to share it with, who you think would benefit. You can always find me on my social media. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm all over the place, y'all. And everything is the same, Nicole D. Vick. You can also visit my website, www.NicoleDvick.com. If you need me to be an MC, a moderator, a trainer, whatever you need, I'm there. You can also purchase my books on my website. My first one is Pushing Through. I have to be like, wait, what is it? Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson. My second book is Push Through 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. I actually have a new book. I got to tell my producer if he can add it to the website. It's called Triumphs in the Trenches. It's a book for Black professionals in the workspace. It's an anthology. I have 20 plus other authors joining me on this effort. So excited about that. All right, y'all. Thank you so very much, Nailah. It was great to meet you. And thank you all for joining tonight. I'll see you next week. Baby, next week is Black History Month. It's about to be a party. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's going to be a party. Okay. Bye, y'all. Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.